You all probably know the song Phenomenal Woman. The singer, songwriter, producer, Amy Sky, is on this show. We've had a series of shows about terrific, phenomenal women. But this show is about a truly exceptional one, because she not only does all those things, but she too is engaged in active pursuits, in particular about depression. Stay with us and see Amy Sky in all her dimensions.
My guest is singer-songwriter, record producer, Amy Sky. Amy, welcome to Israel Today.
Thank you, Shira.
It's such a pleasure to have you here in person because I followed your music and enjoy it for a long, long time, both as a woman and as someone who just likes good music. What's the difference between performing on stage and writing music that someone else performs?
Well, I don't often perform music that other people write. But the difference between writing my own music and performing it, very different parts of the brain. I have to say, I think there's no greater thrill for me than to create, than to take nothingness and create something that didn't exist before, and that I really get a thrill out of writing. Performing is a whole other kind of energy. It's a connection with the audience. It's really being in the moment, using all your powers of concentration to both remember your words and communicate a story, relate to your band, relate to the audience. It's more of a contact sport.
But you made the shift at a certain point.
If you read my bio, it might seem that I started out writing and then decided to perform. But I started writing music as soon as I could play an instrument, maybe around 4 or 5. I never learned an instrument where I didn't try and create my own original music. But that was in the classical world. When it came to, as a teenager, when I started writing pop songs, I was writing them for myself. I was performing them in little clubs, and then in my 20s tried to get record deals, but I didn't achieve success as a performer till after I'd been more successful writing for others.
Right.
So the idea was always, though, to sing my own songs at the same time as trying to get as many other people to sing them as well, because that, to me, is such a kick, to have someone else choose your song to sing.
Amy, that's what I really want to ask you about. You're writing a song that is very much from within you. As you yourself said, is quite different than performing, but then someone else is going to choose it and perform it, and they're going to bring who they are to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what you want?
Absolutely.
Why?
People think of songs, sometimes they confuse songs with something like a painting or a movie or a book, in which there can only be one version that is the authentic version. A song is a living, breathing work of art. It's meant to change feeling when it's interpreted by different people and when the context is different, and that's the richness of a song. You have an R&B singer singing at a rock singer, a country singer. They're all going to bring their own context and history to the song and give it a different meaning and reach a different audience. And as a songwriter, that's what you want. You want as many different people. That's what you call a copyright, a song that's recorded by hundreds of different people.
Yeah, so it's not just a financial joy that comes out of that.
It is a financial choice,
but not just.
No, but it's creatively wonderful. I mean, you think of how many people do you know that have recorded the Beatles yesterday,
right?
Or songs like that can just be reinterpreted over and over.
Or the famous, Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen.
Oh, one of the most beautiful songs ever written.
That's right. And how many people have recorded that?
And they all bring their own. And what's wonderful when you have a song that is known, then it becomes a reflection of the artist's own context in the world. When you see, well, that's the way Katie Lang interprets Hallelujah, or that's the way Rufus Wainwright interprets Hallelujah, or that's the way Leonard Cohen does, then you really can see the artist in a clearer way.
Give me an example of one of your songs and what's different in the way different artists perform.
Well, a good example here in Canada is a song called If My Heart Had Wings, which I wrote with another nice Jewish singer-songwriter named Melissa Manchester, and a third partner, also Jewish, a guy named Eric Kaz. We wrote it, Eric and I wrote it with Melissa many years ago, and she recorded it on a CD of hers. And in fact, the CD was called If My Heart Had Wings. And she did kind of a much bigger version. She used an orchestra, and she may even had a choir on it. And it was much grander and more anthemic. she had different lyrics in her second verse, and just the story was slightly different for her because she resonated to the song in a different way. Whereas when I wanted to interpret it, to me it was a much more intimate, if my heart had wings, I'd fly into the sky and bring back all the love that's missing from our lives. To me, this is a one-on-one conversation with God. You know, I think of Tevye and Fiddler on the Roof talking to God, going, you know, if my heart had wings, God, you know, there's a couple of things I'd like to tell you. You know, there's some stuff we got to work out here. And so to me, I chose production that was much more organic, guitar-oriented, just quieter and softer, a little lower in key, and
quite different.
Yeah.
Do you talk to God in your songs, in your music?
I talk to God all the time.
What do you talk to God about?
Well, I like to say to her that
just waiting for a smile. I heard you.
You know what? I actually that's an interesting subject. I'm really an agnostic. I do believe there's a higher energy in the world. I'm not sure that I would use the word God, but God is a fine word. It's a great metaphor. To me, we all have a higher version of ourselves. Every living creature on the world vibrates on different frequencies, and we can all aspire towards our highest frequency, our most creative frequency with the most integrity. And I think by aspiring towards that, both within ourselves and with the actions that we do, I think that we can transform ourselves, and we can also transform others in leading our lives with integrity or in creating works of art that have integrity, because, you know, someone once said to me, 70% of communication is nonverbal. How you do what you do is as important as what you do.
Well, you do this in your music. The way you aspire to this is in your music.
I do. You're exactly right. And when I write a song, for me it generally starts with the title, really, because I come to a title when I'm chewing on a concept or an idea or a problem or just something I want to figure out. And when it crystallizes in a title...
you start with the title.
I start with a title. That's my process. It's not everyone's process. Mm-hmm. But it's not that I start with a title. I start with a problem that I reflect on and solve with the title, because when I have the title, I know what my point of view is. And then I write the story, and I explore the issues in my songs. There are more questions than I don't really have answers in my songs. I just have more questions and explorations, and I try and make myself cry or bring myself to some sort of peak of emotion in a song.
We're going to take a break now, and we're going to come back with I Will Take Care of You.
That's a good one. Talking about crying.